January 2026, a 15-year-old boy is found near a beach in Singapore. His body has been completely violated. He's found unconscious. His alleged attackers, you would think some strangers, but no, Peter Bon Jallah, a special assistant to the director of the National Security Agency in Liberia. So we're talking a senior governmental official who had the audacity to sodomize this little boy. Let's get into it. I'm Fanta Kamara, and this is Uncensored. Today's episode, it's going to be the silent war on our children. Girls gets raped, boys get sodomized, and the perpetrators are in the government and beyond. A system that was designed to offer justice becomes a system who allows perpetrators to walk free. Now, before I name more names, let's understand the skill, shall we? 3,381 rape cases was reported in 2024, 20% higher than the prior year, so 2023. Well, you might ask, what about 2025? It is on track to exceed 3,500. That's 3,500 plus sexual violence cases reported annually in Liberia. And we're just talking about the ones who actually make it to paper. Imagine all the ones or all of those who never make it to documentation. Now, listen carefully because 83% of those victims are children and young people under the age of 18. 39% of them are under the age of 12, and 1 in 10 are under the age of 5. We're talking toddlers, babies. The average daily, 9 children on average gets raped and violated every single day in Liberia. As we speak, it's probably happening. What are we going to do about this? How have we normalized this? And boys are suffering too. They're being sodomized, boys as young as 6 years old, 9 years old. Teenagers are being destroyed in silence. And it's funny because actually it's not funny. Shame keeps them quiet, and society tells them that boys can be victims or boys cannot be victims. What type of society is this? I've come to learn that rape is the number one reported crime in Liberia. You heard that right? Rape, not theft, not assault, but sexual assault. Rape is the number one crime reported in Liberia. The violation of children in a society that is supposed to protect the most vulnerable. How have we accepted this? Where is the outrage for this? Now, the names are of government officials, people we pay, people our tax dollars pay, people who have sworn to protect us. And our children are the ones actually preying on our children. Let's start with case number one. As I already mentioned a little bit of it, his name is Peter Bon Jallah, a senior official in the current government, working for the National Security Agency, to Major General Prince C. Johnson. It wasn't enough that he sodomized this 15-year-old boy, but he had to make it a party. Now, I've learned since speaking with those who broke the story that this was not the first time he had actually sodomized this boy. Mind you, they live in the same community. And every time it appears that he had drugged the boy. And so this day he decided, well, I'm going to lure him again. And so the boy, being a soccer player in the community, he calls them to come and get soccer shoes, so football shoes and football cleats. The little boy, not knowing what he was walking into, obviously walks into Peter's house, thinking he was there to pick up football shoes. He was kidnapped, drugged, and gang raped by Peter Bon Jallah and two of his friends. Now, I'm not talking about guys who are maybe 5 feet tall, or I'm talking men over 6 feet tall, huge men. So you can imagine, I'm just going to leave the rest for your imagination. Took this 15-year-old boy, drugged him, and sodomized him. All three of them. When they were done with him, they abandoned his body, or they dropped his body on the beach. Liberia is bordered on the Atlantic, so they were expected, as the Atlantic is very rough around the Sincor area. So their expectation was that the ocean was going to wash this little boy's body away and nobody will find out. Well, God doesn't sleep and God does not like ugly. So community members in the morning found the little boy's body on the beach, unconscious. If that doesn't make your skin crawl, I don't know what else should. Of all the crimes that could be committed, you choose the most vulnerable, our children, to prey on them. The outrage from the society, I don't see it. Yet when it comes to nonsensical issues, they're first on the mic. Where is the outrage for this little boy? And all the little boys and girls who are constantly being preyed on by these predators and pedophiles. Is this ritualistic? Is this why the silence? Is this why we haven't heard anything? At least at the level of outrage as we should, as we speak. This little boy is still lying in the hospital at JFK. His mother, his family is devastated. I'm told as of yesterday, she is still wiping the blood off of her son because he continues to bleed profusely. Hospital cannot even provide adequate pampers. And the family is calling on the public for support of him because his wound is still very much active. This is our society. And we call ourselves civilized. We live in a modern era where we continue to elect complete idiots as leaders who cannot even protect the weakest in society, our treasure, our children. I should add, the police has arrested him. The other two, or the two of his friends, have fled. I've learned they've fled the country. And the other is currently going through the justice system. It is my hope that he faces the harshest punishment of the law, which is supposed to be life imprisonment. We'll continue to monitor this case very closely. Now, if anything, the next one, I hope, does not become an indication of what this case turns out to be. Now, you see, the next one is of J. Brian McGill. J. Brian McGill was the Deputy Minister of Youth Development at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. He was in charge of youth development. This is a 50, 60-year-old plus man in charge of youth development in a country that 80% are youth. They could not find a youth to lead this entity. They employ J. Brian McGill. Now, with this case, we've learned that he allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl at the ministry. So imagine a parent bring their child to work. So bring your child to work day, essentially. And your boss, while you're off doing your work, your boss takes your child, your daughter, your 14-year-old daughter, and rapes her, allegedly. The little girl informs her parent, and a medical examination is conducted. That medical examination proved to be conclusive that there has been sexual violation of the little child. Was he arrested? No, no, he wasn't arrested. He was only dismissed, sent home to rest in the comfort of his home, while the family was experiencing complete devastation. And the police is saying that he has been exonerated. The DNA evidence and CCTV evidence exonerated him. Reputable lawyers have demanded for those evidence to be published. They have since not been. Now, you can understand the public distrust in this case because this is a high-ranking government official, once again, who's violated a child. He was never arrested, sent home. The DNA machines that were ordered in the country since 2021 had not been used. In fact, the police are on record for asking friendly nations to come and help them learn how to use the machine. What, what type of country is this? So according to the police, they had to send the DNA out of country. They sent it to, I learned, Ghana. And that makes me question, as a cybersecurity professional, as a technologist, there is something called chain of custody. How was this done? To have relied on DNA to exonerate him. As, of course, as you know, the public is furious because they're seeing the same story play over and over and over again. High-ranking officials, people in power, violate the marginalized, violate the impoverished, and they walk scot-free. While we would love to believe the police, a level of transparency is required. As of today, those evidence have not been released. We ask, is he untouchable? Are they untouchable? That they can commit such atrocities, these satanic, sadistic violations and walk free. Case number 3, Sando Kromah, a procurement contractor with the Ministry of Agriculture. He was caught in the act in a community in Town. The community members had to demand his arrest. And what has happened to him, we have no idea. Is he still in prison? Has he been released? Where he is? Nobody knows. This was a rape of a 14-year-old girl. 14, caught in the act, a government official. Where is the accountability? We ask. The next one just breaks my heart because it's of a little girl, a 15-year-old girl, who runs to the police to escape an adult male who attempted to rape her. So she runs to the police for protection while in police custody. The officer there, Officer Emmanuel Weslley, proceeded to show her pornography on his phone and then proceeded to force himself upon her and rape her. Why are these crimes so prevalent in our society? What type of deterrent mechanisms do we have in place? And why have they not been implemented to deter such violations, such audacious actions against children? You know, we have to ask ourselves, what does that say about us as a people? If we cannot protect the people who are worth protecting the most, what does that say about our civilization? What does that say about our systems? You have Peter Bon Jallah, high governmental official, arrested. His 2 companions have fled. You have McGill, only suspended, exonerated, and others who continue to walk free. Where's the justice for the victims? A few weeks ago, there was another little girl, 8 years old, went to school, came back from school completely deformed, and her mother devastated and crying and pleading. It just died down. Where is the justice for that little girl? Another little girl, 8 months old, a baby, violated by a grown ass man. Where is the justice for that toddler? What type of society is this? What type of people have we become to call ourselves civilized when we cannot even protect our children from predators? Why do they walk free? Why do they continue to walk free? Statistics shows that Only 2% of 100% of cases gets convicted. We're talking 98% go scot-free. 2% conviction rate. The system, once again, that was designed to serve justice for victims was designed to actually fill them and protect the perpetrators, especially if they're connected and people of power. Because the victims cannot afford fancy lawyers to advocate on their behalves. And that brings me to my next question. In a country as small as Liberia is in terms of population, 5+ million, everybody wants to be a lawyer. Everybody wants to be a lawyer. We're all going to law school. I ask myself, in a country with hundreds, if not thousands of lawyers, where are the different law groups? Where are they? Then I'm reminded, law school has become a social club. They want to go to law school just to hang out with their friends. They want to understand the so-called law just to protect themselves and each other. Not the people who actually deserve to be protected. The selfishness of it all just kills me every single time. The few who have spoken up, we applaud you. The majority who are still silent, we're watching you. The justice system is so selective. In fact, they'll tell the victims, if you can't bring money for us to register your kids will not get registered. The little girl that I was talking about, 8 years old, a few weeks ago, she went to the police to go and register her case. The police told her, bring $10 so we can buy pen and paper to register your case. She said, I only have $11 to my name. I have nothing. They said, then you're not serious? If you don't bring the money, we can't register the case. Imagine all those families out there who cannot afford to give the police $10 so they can register the cases of their children. The silent victims. 98% walks scot-free. Every single time our DNA machines are broken, so they cannot process DNA right away. They have to send it out of the country. We have, Court E that's supposed to be a specialized sexual assault court that was established in 2015 by the Ellen Johnson regime. And it truly disgusts me that, when Ellen Johnson came to power, everyone hailed her as first woman president, such an accomplished, my gosh, wow. Glass ceiling breaking. A leader that was supposed to protect the most vulnerable ended up putting in systems in place that were not sustainable. Even if she implemented or suggested policies or what have you, those policies were never executed. Never. We often say women are supposed to be nurturer and this and that. And she failed the most vulnerable in our society, women and children. I challenge anyone, because I have not seen it, which is why I'm challenging anyone to put forth a policy with EJS 12 years in office. I challenge anyone to put forth a policy or to show a policy that has benefited women and children that she implemented. When such a precedent is set, the men who follow are supposed to actually do better. I think I'll commend WEA for establishing a rape state of emergency. And we saw a dip in the numbers. But then here UP comes around again, and the numbers have once again spiked with no outrage. No state of emergency declared. DNA machines are not fixed at home. Victims, once again, are left with no justice. This court E that is supposed to offer swift revision of these cases is only in 3 counties. We're talking 15 counties, and it's only found in 3 counties. So it's as if the other 12 counties don't even matter. You want justice, come to Monrovia. And you come to Monrovia, you're going to be asked to give small thing, give some money so they can document your case. An 8-year-old girl who's bleeding. You see her bleeding profusely. Her mother is begging and crying on the police to register her case. And they tell her, bring money. Bring money first. So we must demand, not ask, because we are beyond that point. We cannot beg because this is disgraceful, is shameful for us as a nation. So we must demand. Demand that justice to these victims. Demand that perpetrators don't get to walk free. Demand that pedophiles receive the utmost punishment. I'm not talking punishments that are currently on the books because clearly they're not working. I'm talking about public castration for individuals who violate a child. Before those of you out there who will come at me about international law and human rights, where is the human right for a toddler, for an 8-year-old, for a 5-year-old boy, for a 9-year-old boy, for a 15-year-old girl, a 14-year-old girl, or a 15-year-old boy? Where is the human rights for them? Because rape and sodomy against children are against human rights. So just in case you want to preach human rights for grown adult males, I would encourage you to shut the hell up. Rapists who commit atrocities against children have the audacity to invite their friends and have them ganged sodomized or ganged raped should be publicly castrated. They should face the death penalty, capital punishment. I'm not the only one who's called for this. In fact, there are about, I think, 9 states in the great United States who have castration laws today. California, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Florida, the list goes on. Google it. It's public information. Don't be lazy. There are countries in Europe today who have enacted both chemical and surgical castrations for perverts, pedophiles, and perpetrators who prey and violate children under 18. So Fanta Kamara is outrageous. I will be outrageous. Because when it comes to children, I'm going to have no chill. This is where I draw the line. It's not about politics. I really don't give a crap or two French about any type of politics. This is about protecting the Liberian people, protecting the most vulnerable of our society. And if we cannot do that as a people, that we will politicize it or we will chalk it off to someone's personality, well, that's your problem to deal with. I'm not toning down to make you comfortable. Get a blanket. Go cry to your nanny. Because you can cry me all the river. If you're not as outraged as I am about defending the most vulnerable in our society, you can please keep your comments to yourself. And this is for children everywhere. In Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Madagascar, in Asia, in Europe, and the great United States. We as a society must protect children at all costs. No questions asked. Once the evidence is there and is overwhelming, justice must be swift. Justice cannot be regional. Court E must be established in all the 15 counties. To every Liberian, have swift access to justice for their children. The public, because most of you know these people in the community. We live amongst them. You know who they are, yet you keep quiet. You don't say anything until yet again another child gets violated, and another child gets violated, and another child gets violated. Oh, the hell I'm making too. See in the comment section. Oh, that's not strange. That's what he does. It's not his first time. He's done it before. Why didn't anyone say anything? You know the crimes of your neighbors, yet you say nothing. You only speak when it happens to your child. How disgusting. And those police officers who demand money from victims to register their cases, shame on you. The justice system who refuse to swiftly prosecute these perpetrators, shame on you. The government and governmental agencies who continues to protect these perpetrators, shame on you. And the fact that you don't have a level of outrage as you should have with such cases, shame on you. Shame on you. I would encourage everyone to share this episode to your WhatsApp groups, your various social media groups. The more we're able to share and amplify this message, cascade this message, the more we become aware of the predators that lurks among us, the more we can protect ourselves. We must reject the narrative that, oh, let's just let the law take its course. No. It starts with us, the community members, the ones who have always known but kept silent. Because you have to understand they're banking on our silence. They're banking on your silence. They're banking on you to keep quiet. And because that serves as their protection. We must reject that vehemently. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Because when it comes to crimes against children, that's where we draw the line. Until next time, I'm Fanta Kamara, and this is Uncensored, where they don't control my voice.